Wait a second, you're not actually worried about the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow, right? Philadelphia should easily roll them. I'll explain why. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a weekend, on a Saturday, where we get ready for Week 5 of the National Football League, as we always do here on the Thomas Mott Show, with a look at Eagles, Cardinals, and then a later look at the rest of the NFL scores. This video last week, whenever I went ahead and launched the Saturday Thomas Mott Show, Eagles, Jaguars, so many Jaguar fans were commenting a lot of, the Jaguars are way better than you realize, the Jaguars are going to win. So if you're a Cardinal fan, welcome into the show. That is fine. You can tell who we root for over here. However, I don't think you guys are that good. And I want to explain to Philadelphia Eagle fans and to Cardinal fans and to NFL fans in general that Philadelphia should go to 5-0. It should not be that difficult. And even though it's Kyler Murray and it's a road game, this is a winnable game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I could be wrong, sure, and you can comment down below and save this video and subscribe to the channel and then come back on Monday and be like, Thomas, see, we're wrong. That's fine. But I'm going to go through some game previews from Bleeding Green Nation, from fan side with the Arizona Cardinals, and show you why Philadelphia should be just fine. Okay, let's start with the Bleeding Green Nation article here. A little game preview, Eagles versus Cardinals, 5 questions and answers with the Week 5 enemies. So they went ahead and I believe interviewed with Seth Cox of Revenge of the Birds, who's for the Cardinal, I think SB Nation writer. And so you ask him 5 questions, he gives you 5 answers. We'll go through those right now. First of which, to what extent are Cardinal fans satisfied with the Zach Ertz trade? How do fans feel about him? And do you expect him to be a part of this week's plan against his former team? Seth says, I think very satisfied. Ertz has been the best tight end weapon the Cardinals have ever had. And you saw that play out statistically last year. Now, the full offseason, he's even more involved, and he has become the security blanket for Kyler Murray. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I think that they are happy with the Zach Ertz trade, but Philadelphia by no means did not make a good move there. Dallas Goedert right now is a better tight end than Zach Ertz. Ertz historically is better because he's had a much longer career, but Dallas Goedert is a better tight end overall. And while Ertz has been successful for the Arizona Cardinals, he's not been like the Jason or the Travis Kelce of the Arizona Cardinals or the Rob Gronkowski of the Arizona Cardinals. He's a nice weapon, probably one of their better pass catchers because with DeAndre Hopkins out, and he will be out for this game, they don't have a lot of great weapons on the outside, not named Hollywood Brown, and so he's been fine. But don't let the media fool you here by saying, oh my gosh, Philadelphia, boy, they miss Zach Ertz. They don't. Trust me, not at all. What's your confidence level in Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury right now? They say Kyler is higher than Cliff, but it varies game to game. The Cardinals' slow start on the season, and each and every game has made fans restless, so Kyler's big second halves against the Raiders and Panthers reminded fans of what he can do or what he can be, but also makes fans hesitant towards Cliff. Is Cliff holding Kyler back? Can Kyler be more outside of Cliff's schemes? These are some questions that some still have. I think confidence is low right now, and you mentioned the fact that, or this writer mentions the fact that the first half of football games have not been the Arizona Cardinals' forte. They've been terrible so far in these early games. They've been losing in most of these early games, as we'll look at, and it did take a heroic fourth quarter performance by Kyler Murray against the Panthers and then against the Raiders to even get them to 2-2. Flip that to Philadelphia's side, they have had the best second quarter of any football team in the National Football League. They've struggled at times in the first quarter. You think back to the Jaguar game, it was 14-0, but they have scored so many points in the second quarter that by halftime they've been leading almost every single game, if not every single game they've played in so far through 4 weeks. And so Cliff and Kyler, they seemingly are at each other's throats right now. Obviously, when it comes down to it, in the end, they're going to side with Kyler Murray there, at least the front office for the Arizona Cardinals, and so Cliff could be out the door by the end of the season. But I think that Kyler has been very human this year, whereas in the past, him running around and throwing to DeAndre Hopkins elevated him to a very high up on quarterback lists, top 5. Is Kyler a top 5 guy, a top 8 guy? He's outside the top 10 right now this year, and a big reason why is their absolutely abysmal start so far on offense. They want to say, what is Cardinals' biggest strength? How should they be attacking the Eagles? The Cardinals can control the game offensively with their long drives and ability to chew up clock. That's what we saw against the Los Angeles Rams, except they couldn't get in the end zone. They lost that game, so I guess it didn't work that well. With the Eagles' big play and high-scoring offense, the key to this game will be controlling the pace and give their defense as much help as possible. They have a good rushing attack and a very passing game with the ability to attack short and deep and keep the ball away from the Eagles, but can they finish drives? My answer is going to be probably not. And you can make the case the Cardinals are a good rushing team. That's more so due to the fact that Kyler is a good running quarterback. And so you can see people saying, well, they're very similar to Philadelphia. They are, except Philadelphia actually can run the football with just their backs. We saw that in the big win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was not a Jalen Hurts rushing game. That was a Miles Sanders rushing game. The offensive line for Arizona is a little bit suspect. Philadelphia's is way, 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 way better. And as we'll see, the defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals, they just don't get sacks. They get pressures, but they do not get a lot of sacks. What is the Cardinals' biggest weakness? What should the Eagles be looking to exploit? I mean, it depends on the game. Sometimes it's the defense. All games this year, it is the first half offense. And the reality is the Cardinals don't do a great job of rushing the passer, so that causes issues. The Eagles can throw the ball extremely well. They also run the ball well. So if the Cardinals start slow, their defense won't be able to stop the Eagles' offense, while their offense won't be able to come back against the Eagles' great pass rush and pass defense. This is kind of the big takeaway in terms of how I look at this game. I think Philadelphia's defensive and offensive line, as they've done the first 4 games, will dictate. You keep Kyler Murray from running anywhere. You make him throw the football here, especially if he's down 7-0, 10-0, 14-7. You're going to get a lot of sacks. You're going to force some errant throws from Kyler Murray, and you're going to have a really good day defensively if you are the Philadelphia Eagles. He has 31-28 Eagles. I don't think it'll be that close. I'll give you my score prediction later on. Give me yours right now, though. I'm always curious where you guys are at on that one. But right now, 28 points by the Cardinals would be a bad day for the Eagles' defense. All right, let's go over here to the injury report. We've talked about this on the Thomas Mott Show, although interesting, both starting kickers are out. Matt Prater out for the Cardinals and Jake Elliott out for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go through this right now. I think Patrick Johnson most likely will be out. Maybe by the time you're watching this video on Saturday morning, that is official. I'm not sure on Maddox, not sure on Mailata. I said on the show the other day that I wouldn't start Mailata unless he's as close to 100% as he can be. The same would go for Avonte Maddox. The rest of these guys look like they're going to be good to go. Kyron Johnson breezing through, concussion protocol. Kelsey's with the ribs is fine. Scott with the ribs is fine. Sam Malo was a limited guy, but he's going to go. Philadelphia pretty healthy in this one. Remember, Jack Driscoll goes at left tackle, or maybe Andre Dillard. We'll see if Mailata isn't able to go. The Arizona Cardinals are banged up right now. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, their leading receiver, was limited in practice. He's going to play, but he's not going to be 100%. J.J. Watt had that weird heart issue. He got a rest day yesterday, but he should be good to go on Sunday. And then Matt Prater, their kicker, will go ahead and miss the game. So backup kickers for both teams here. Going into Sunday's matchup in the afternoon on Fox. I thought this fan-sided article was kind of interesting regarding the Arizona Cardinals. It's an Arizona Cardinal, focused blog website, and so it's fun to see their 3 bold predictions against the Eagles. Let's see where they go on this one. Number 1, Cardinals running backs total 150 yards. No, they will not. Not against this Eagles defense. If they total 150 yards, they might win the game. But I'd be shocked if they gave up 150 yards to running backs alone. Maybe a combined with Kyler Murray running for his life, but 150 yards total? No, it's not going to happen. James Conner's good. He's not that good. Cardinals sacked Jalen Hurts 4 times. Really? Now, they do make the case here that Jalen Hurts is the 11th most sacked quarterback in the league with 9, which is kind of hard to believe. You don't really think about a lot of sacks being given up by the Eagles' offensive line. But the one thing the Cardinals don't do well is get sacked. So 4 times of Jalen Hurts? What is this, 2010 with J.J. Watt? I don't see it happening. Eagles hold Cardinals to under 20 points. Now, that's a bold prediction. That is... If they do, then you're probably going to win. But if you hold the Eagles under 20, does that mean the Cardinals are scoring 7? Like, Arizona they just don't score in the first half. And so, boy, they better hope they hold this Eagles offense in check, because so far no one's been able to do that, especially, like I said, in quarter number 2. Now, as you go over here to Arizona, and I want to give Eagle fans, a good look at where they're at right now. Blown out and destroyed by the Chiefs week 1, which you could, it's week 1. Chiefs are way better. Not a big deal there. They were losing this game to the Raiders, though. They were losing this game until the very end. So why the Raiders at 1-3 are a little better than people are giving them credit for. They should really have started at 0-2. And the Rams game, sure, you were able to move the football, as they talked about in that first Bleeding Green Nation article, but they couldn't score. And this is not a vaunted Rams defense this year. We've seen that 20-12, 12 points against the Rams division opponent. Not good. They were losing to Carolina as well. And then you kind of had some, Baker interceptions and some Kyler, I don't call it magic. I don't know if Kyler's at that level right now, but Kyler had some good plays. They should really be 1-3. You could make the argument they could be 0-4. Now, that happens with every NFL team. You could make the argument of this or the argument of that. Sure, but right now, Arizona at 2-2, even though they're tied for first in the NFC West, to me are not that big of a threat. Now, again, before we get into the rest of the games going on Sunday, and we'll preview every single one as we do here on the weekend of Thomas Mott Show. Thumbs up for that as well. Arizona is not a terrible football team. They're not a bad football team. You can make the case they're the 3rd best team we've played this year. I would put the Vikings at 1. I put the Jaguars at 2. I put the Lions at 3 and the Washington Commanders at 4. So you can put the Cardinals right above the Commanders or maybe above the Lions. They're not bad. They could beat Philadelphia, and I want to make sure I emphasize that. That way people aren't like, Thomas, you were so cocky, and then the Eagles lost. Like, how could you do that? No. Listen, they can beat the Eagles because it's the NFL, and anyone can beat any team any day of the week. But as I said with the Jaguars game last week, Philadelphia, if they're as good as we think that they are, it shouldn't be a problem. And after the 14-0 start, it wasn't a problem. Philadelphia had zero issues. When they got back in that football game, they were clearly the better football team, despite the fact a lot of national media members still consider Jacksonville to be a decent football team in the AFC. Probably a playoff team, maybe 9 wins with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. I see a very similar game. Kyler will take his shots. They will have their moments. Sure, maybe they get off to a fast start. Who knows? But in the end, the 4-0 Eagles, the best roster in the NFC, maybe the NFL, the best team in the NFC, should continue that role. I think they go ahead and get to 5-0. I'm seeing probably 27-17 Philadelphia. Do they get to 30? Maybe. Do they get to 400 yards? I don't know. But I say 27-17, and they're double-digit win for the Eagles, and they look really, really good in that one. Okay, let's go ahead and preview some of the other games happening on Sunday. Giants-Packers. This is a great game for Eagle fans because the Packers will win. This one is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium early on Sunday. Set your fantasy lineups accordingly. The Giants will not have Daniel Jones based on the report this morning. I guess he could technically start, but it looks like Jake Fromm might start in that game. Even if Jones does play, this should be a Packer win, and that 3-1 kind of fraudulent Giants record is going to get a lot more realistic at 3-2. Steelers-Bills, does Kenny Pickett do anything here? Probably not. Buffalo goes to 4-1. Chargers-Browns, the Chargers are very disappointing. Is this disappointing the right word? They've been injured a lot, but they should win a lot more games than just being at 500. I think they beat the Browns. You got to root for the Bears here against the Vikings, even though it's very unlikely the Chicago Bears are able to win this game because their offense is abysmal, but root for the Bears because you want Minnesota to lose football games. Hopefully the Lions can get a win, man. The poor Lions have played great football this year. Their offense is on fire. Jared Goff, 11 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. Can they beat the Patriots? Unsure if it's Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi going in this one, but right now, come on. The Lions are at least fun, even if they're in the NFC. Seahawks and Saints, keep rooting for those Seahawks because if they beat the Saints, that draft pick gets even better and better for the Eagles because Eagles have the Saints' first-round draft pick, and 1-4 would be great. New Orleans is a 5.5-point favorite in this one. A 5.5. Geno Smith's not been bad. He's been better than Russell Wilson so far this year. I would definitely bet Seattle in this one to at least cover. I mean, minus 5.5 is ridiculous, but you want to root for the Seattle Seahawks. Dolphins, Jets, no Tua most likely in that one. Can Zach Wilson do any sort of magic after getting his first win of the year and starting his first game against the Steelers last week? We don't know. This Bucks-Falcon one, here's another one where you would bet the line or bet for the away team. I think you bet Falcons. Falcons plus 10 right now. They're giving Tampa 10 points. Atlanta's run defense has been good this year. Their pass defense has been pretty good. Their offense has no Cordero Patterson, and that factors into it. But rookie Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley elevated to the starting roster. They have a chance to go 3-2, and that would give them the best record in the NFC South. Crazy. Titans, Commanders. I think Carson Wentz is going to get benched here in the next couple of weeks. He's been awful. He's been really bad. Interceptions are way too high. They're losing football games. They lost to Dallas last week in Cooper Rush. I think they lose this one, and the Taylor Heineke chants start happening with the Commanders. They're the worst team in our division. Texans, Jags. Again, the Jaguars are 7-point favorites. I'm fine with that. I think they win that game. Panthers, 49ers. People are really riding on the Niners after their win last week. I don't know if they're the best team in the NFC like people are saying. They're good. But are they the best? We'll see what happens against Carolina and the lowly Panthers. Cowboys-Rams is going to get all the hype. That'll be the big main storyline on Monday morning for most national media outlets because, Cooper Rush this, Cooper Rush that. I think Cooper Rush has his worst game of the 3 he's played so far this year. They come back down to earth. They go to 3-2, and then the conversation next week will be, is Dak Prescott going to be healthy or not? Who knows for the Eagle game, but that's big Ram fans on Sunday, big ones. And finally, Bengals-Ravens on Sunday Night Football. That will be a very good one as the Ravens will have a home game against the Bengals. That Raven defense has been an issue. We'll see if Joe Burrow can get back on track. And then Raiders-Chiefs. Can the Raiders afford to fall to 4-1 or 1-4 going to Arrowhead? Probably not, but they probably will because they're playing Mahomes and the Chiefs, who've looked really good post losing to the Colts a couple of weeks ago. All right, there you go. There's your Week 5 look ahead here on the Thomas Mott Show. Of course, Week 5 taking place tomorrow. I might do a pregame show in terms of just hopping on and talking to you guys before the Eagles game. If you guys want to do that, subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Trying to keep you guys up to date on the Thomas Mott Show. Those live shows can be fun too. That's it though. Go Birds. I say 27-17. Go to 5-0, and we're gonna be really having fun on a Monday whenever we jump into another edition of the Thomas Mott Show. Again, I'm Thomas Mott. See you guys.